Hi, guys. Ryan Fowler with Inner Masculine Live. Another great show for you today. We're going to examine a Russell Brand clip, and there's also a video short we're going to look at that examines authentic confidence. And we're also going to answer the question: you see people who are authentically confident. Why do we like them? What's going on? What's the whole psychology, the underpinnings that makes us like that type of person? It's very ironic in today's world that everyone's trying to, not everyone, but many people are trying to put their best foot forward, put forward a false persona, look like they're better than they're not. You see, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, my life's so great. And then the reality is often quite different. People do that because they want to be accepted. But what's ironic is those who are authentically confident tend to actually be the most likable people, even though they may show their imperfections. And I'm not talking about people who put themselves down or self-deprecating or anything like that, because a confidently authentic person won't put himself down. He won't self-deprecate, but they are who they are. They accept themselves. Why is that so likable? Now, we're going to watch a Russell Brand clip, and I've always liked Russell Brand because his thing is he does have this kind of like he's like kind of wild, but also he has like this almost kind of like sweet, authentic confidence, like confident in his imperfections. You look at his channel, he's actually quite spiritual and very introspective too. He's had to be, because he was a hardcore drug addict. He had to get the mindset he has right now in order to overcome his drug addiction. If you've seen my show on addiction, people who have stuff inside of them they're not comfortable with, they'll cover it up with addiction or other types of pleasure or video games or just whatever to just zone it out, tune it out. So for him to beat that, he had to actually become very comfortable with who he really is. And he says he has some personas on stage, and I believe that, but I also believe a real part of him shines through. And you can watch different shows about him. There's documentaries about him where he just kind of shows who he really is. And what makes him so funny, in my opinion, is oftentimes he forces others to be authentic too. He calls them on their bullshit or on the bullshit of the situation they're in a very humorous way, and it catches people off guard. And he's hilarious, but I love how authentic he is. So we're gonna watch his clip, and we're going to pick apart what's going on. And he actually picks apart what's going on, but I'm gonna add some new stuff in too. So before we dive into that, you notice in the lower left hand of my screen, innermasculine.com/free ebook. Get your free ebook on how the subconscious mind works and why it keeps you stuck. You just go there, you put in your email. I have a guy who is working on fixing it. It says the ebook's sending every few days. We're trying to get it automatic, and I'm a noob at this, but that is getting fixed. You will get your ebook. I've already sent out, several dozen of them. And we'll just give you a little taste of it here. Your subconscious mind works, why it keeps you stuck. It spells everything out here for you guys. So many of us, okay, topic of today's show. Why are we afraid to show the real us? Why are we afraid to show our weakness? Why do we care if some strangers who we don't even know accept us or reject us? What's going on there? And why is our subconscious giving us resistance to so many things? So reality is, if you show the real you to others, there I go, sinking down. If you show the real you to others, and you do it comfortably and authentically. You're not trying to vomit your trauma on them or anything. You're just being the real, authentic you, and you're comfortable with that. That is endearing to people. I'm going to go over the specific things it does. It's a good thing. People love these type of people who are comfortable in their authenticity, their imperfection, their humanity. We love these type of people. Why do so many people do the opposite? Well, at the core, it's because of subconscious beliefs. This is going to give you the blueprint as to why we do what we do and what is going on with our subconscious mind. It's going to lay it out for you. You could probably read this whole thing in an hour. And everyone knows their subconscious mind is massively important, influences our behavior more than anything else, period. But they don't know how the subconscious mind works. This is going to explain it to you. No fluff, no BS, just boom, give it to you straight. And then you're going to be able to see stuff in your own life and understand, okay, why do you procrastinate, self-sabotage, have anxiety? You have anxiety, and it's like, why do I have anxiety about this task? I need to do the task. Why do I have this internal resistance? Why am I procrastinating? It's going to show you all of that. You know, it does talk about addiction and feeling not good enough and all these things. So innermasculine.com/free-ebook, absolutely free. And if you get it at the end, there is a way to get a no cost, no obligation, free 30-minute consult with me. That's for people who take the time to get the ebook, of course. And so there's that. So let's go on into the rest of our show. I'm going to show this Russell Brand clip. I don't think I'll play the whole thing. I'll play a portion of it. But I mean, he's a lovable guy. It's like he's like mischievous, but there's something about him that's just lovable. And I do think he has learned to just let his imperfections show, and he's totally comfortable with that. And then kind of exposes other people's imperfections and is like, hey, it's okay though. I love you. You're imperfect. This is really messed up what you believe or whatever. He's saying dumb stuff, but he does it in a loving way. It's pretty hilarious. So P-Dubs, thank you, sir. Watching my show almost every day, if not every day. Jesper, welcome to the show, my man. And so let's get into this clip here. Let me bring it up real quick. And then after that, I got a video short that is, you know, it's like a minute, but it just has these nuggets of wisdom in it that is really just going to summarize everything Russell Brand is saying here. So here we go. Russell Brand, my friend.
People always think that I'm confident because I'm a professional show-off, but I'm actually quite shy in what you might call normal social situations because I'm a professional performer and I've been performing since I was 15 and doing stuff.
Okay, this right here, he's confident, but this is what makes him authentic. He's like, hey, I'm a human too. I'm not perfect. He's just open about it right now.
Stand-up comedy since.
And does that make you think he's like, oh, what a loser because he's shy sometimes or because maybe he's quiet in his real life? Does that make you think that he's just, you know, saying, hey, I'm human? Does that make you think less of him? No, when you're authentic, it typically doesn't. Because deep down, we all know that we're human and have imperfections.
In my early 20s, and so it's more than half my life constantly showing off. I've developed a series of personae that are quite good, but I would say confidence is the sense that you have enough, are enough on your own, and don't require things that you won't be able to get externally, i.e., like say you think, well, I know I do need the support of other people, but I'm happy that I'll get them. I know I do need a job. I'm happy I'll get a job or whatever. You don't feel like that you're constantly at a loss in a position of dis-ease. I can see why people would suffer from a lack of confidence because I think we live in this highly comparative and combustible culture where, like, you know,
So he's broke down what true confidence is. I think he's nailed it. True authentic confidence. Now he's going to explain why so many people don't have this. Here we go.
I look at David Beckham, like recently playing for Man United. I think, oh God, he looks good, doesn't he? Maybe I should try and play for Man. You know what I mean? Like, so if you're constantly comparing yourself to these difficult to achieve external emblems, but really what I've been told again and again is that true confidence, and this does seem to be verifiably true, is when someone embraces and accepts who they are. You know, like I know people who seem confident who
right there, you embrace and accept who you really are. And I talk time after time after time about toxic shame. That's you not accepting who you are. I'm not good enough. This is the opposite. I accept every part of me for who I am, and I'm totally cool with it, and it is good enough. Doesn't mean I'm perfect, still good enough. This is the source of authentic confidence. We'll keep going.
You have the things that I consider being my own faults or flaws. Like say you're worried about your own weight. Well, there are people that are bigger than what is advertised as the standard size that seem to be really, really confident, don't they? Or if you don't think you're good looking enough, or that you don't look good enough naked, or you're not clever enough, there are all manner of people that are what we could regard as deficient or subpar or substandard. And I'm simply using these words to convey to you the idea that there's an imagined standard. We think we fall short of that imagined standard. We judge ourselves. We feel inferior. I suppose.
You know what's funny? These people who are substandard, overweight, whatnot, if they have innate confidence, you tend to like them anyways. You definitely like them more, and the weight doesn't seem as big of an issue. I'm not saying it's not an issue, but think about that. Whatever situation you're in, having this authentic confidence is going to make you more likable. And, you know, in a dating context, it makes you more attractive to the opposite sex, just straight up.
I suppose lack of confidence is a sort of it must be comparative. It must be comparative. When I think, say, of an obvious example of where I might experience lack of confidence, it's that old nightmare of having to socialize with a group of, say, 12 people that I don't know well around a dinner table. I don't know how that has even caught on as an idea of something to do with time. I can't stand it. Mind you, I don't, drink or take drugs or nothing. If I have to do that, I think, oh no, I've got to sit at that table. What am I going to talk about? So what I reckon goes on in my mind is, one, I hold myself up to a too high a standard of like, oh, you've got to be some dazzling Peter Ustinov, Peter Cook, one of the Peters style wit that's setting the table on a roar with some wonderful anecdote, and I sort of know that won't happen, and then feeling
okay. Now this guy's one of the wittiest guys around, thinking about not being witty enough, and I just want to kind of point this out. How many of our audience watching is like, oh, I need to do better here, I need to do better there. Even if you get to be a super witty guy like Russell Brand, like one of the wittiest guys on the planet, I mean, just the sharpest tongue and mind. He's like, oh man, I got to perform here. I don't know if I can do it. It's really a mindset, how you believe and whether you accept yourself or not, to what degree. And, he's imperfect. Hey, we all have little bouts, even those of us who are overall, secure human beings, doesn't mean we'll never have little bouts of insecurity, but we'll keep going.
Inferior, or I want to be in control of the situation. You can't really be in control of many situations. That's what I'm beginning to learn, that there is little control to be had. You could master a discipline. You could become very good at jiu-jitsu, so then you would feel confident in that area. Always going to be someone better than you, unless you're extremely bloody good at it. I say that the answers to the feeling of a lack of self-confidence: one, don't compare yourself to other people. Two, find what it is you enjoy doing, devote and dedicate yourself to it. Three, look at what it is you feel is not good enough about you. Is there anything that can be done to improve it? What results do you expect to achieve by improving it? Say, for example, let's take that. I heard off of the wonderful Brené Brown that men beat themselves.
Brené Brown is a professor at University of Houston. I think she has a chair at University of Austin. I featured a couple clips of her on this show. She was on 60 Minutes. And I'm just giving you some background so this lady he's going to quote. She specializes in the study of shame, toxic shame, vulnerability, courage. It's funny how she studies vulnerability, but she also studies what you might think is the opposite, courage. Actually, it's not. They're pretty closely tied together. And so this is an expert in the field. Listen to what he says, quoting her.
Themselves up most about not being strong enough, about being weak, and according to Brené Brown, women beat themselves up most about their body.
So men beat themselves up about not being strong enough when it comes to physical traits. Women will continue.
Right. So say it's body.
Women about their looks, their bodies.
You don't think your body's right, and I
fitness, etc.
don't feel my body's right a lot of the time. It's like, what if I feel, I'll exercise more, I'll eat healthier, I'll try and get fitter. I should examine what it is I'm anticipating getting from that. Because sometimes these things slide into your mind somehow as a solution when they're really not going to provide a solution at all. I sometimes feel...
Exactly. Now, this I want to pick apart for a second, guys. You'll see this in my ebook. I've gone through this extensively. We use pleasure to cover pain. Our brain motivates us towards pleasure. That's a strong drive. That's what dopamine's all about. However, if there is pain tied to something, we have a stronger instinct to avoid the pain. And what ends up happening, I've shown clips, like there's this clip of Arnold Schwarzenegger. There's this TV show host, this skinny guy in the 1970s, interviewing Arnold Schwarzenegger. And the skinny host has all this negative self-talk. He talks that he doesn't believe in himself. He puts himself down twice on TV. He talks about avoiding pain, like, did you get big so you wouldn't get bullied anymore, et cetera, et cetera. And then Arnold is like, no, I love being big and strong, and anyone can be big and strong like me if they really want to. Most people don't, and that's fine. But I'm following my dreams, and I want to be big and strong, and I love it, and it's awesome. And Arnold, who's focused on chasing pleasure, hey, it's great being strong. I love competing, all of that. I believe anyone can do this. Arnold actually corrects the guy who's putting himself down. And Arnold says, I have to compliment you on your athletic build. Don't put yourself down. Because Arnold understands these concepts that I'm going to be talking about right now, which is we have to tie this in. Our brain motivates us towards pleasure. That's anything you want to do, use a carrot. Don't use a stick. A stick makes you avoid doing stuff. A carrot motivates you to do stuff. And yeah, you got to get your subconscious down, because I can tell you this consciously and it's going to help. But if you have bad subconscious programs that are not aligned with what I'm telling you, you got to go in and fix your subconscious. It's what I do all day, every day. So what happens is, if your brain, this is neuroscience, psychology, whatever you want to call it, if your brain ties pain to being overweight, you feel bad about being overweight. You're trying to lose weight, but number one, if you don't believe you can, our subconscious mind pulls us to where it believes we should be. So if you believe you're overweight, it's going to keep you there. Number two, as you try to lose weight, you are actually taking away the drug that's covering up the pain, the drug of food. And you take away the drug and you start to feel all this pain and insecurity that eating food was covering, because it feels good to eat food. Now I'm talking about overweight people who really struggle with their weight. So they start to lose weight, but they're taking away the drug that makes them feel good, or at least better, not as bad about being overweight. And now they are exposed to all this pain that's actually keeping them fat. So they go back to the solution that works for them, is cover that pain up. I'm not good enough. I'm inferior, comparing themselves to others. Others are skinny, or others are thin and look great. I don't. Now I feel bad about myself. Our brain wants us to numb out this pain, this toxic shame. So what is their solution? Go back to eating food, because the food comforts them, makes them feel good, and now they can't lose weight. So everything Russell's saying here is true. The best way to lose weight is to accept you're good enough, even if you're 200 pounds overweight. What that does is that removes the pain, and now just focus on the pleasure of, man, I lost 5 pounds this week. I feel, 1 pound, whatever. I feel great. Wow, I'm getting thinner and thinner. I feel great. You focus on the pleasure, focus on the pleasure, focus on the pleasure. What we're going to find out today is that people who are authentically confident don't have emotional pain or insecurity about their imperfections. They know that they are good enough even with their imperfections. And it's important to have that, because if you have pain around any of your imperfections, you're probably going to use something maladaptive to cover up that's going to cause more problems in your life. Porn, alcohol, excessive video games, eating too much food, etc., etc., etc. This is a conundrum of the human race. So, and this is why Russell Brand's saying, don't compare yourself to others. You notice he's comfortable with his imperfections. He's had to become that way. This is a guy who used to be a hardcore drug addict. He does not drink anymore. He does not do drugs anymore. And it's not a coincidence that he no longer does that. And he is comfortable with who he really is, imperfections and all, and he accepts his imperfections. He knows he's still good enough. Now, he may not be perfect at this, but he's way, 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 way better than your average person. And this is why he's no longer an addict. He doesn't need those drugs to cover up internal pain. He accepts his imperfections. So if you accept your imperfections and then pursue pleasure. Our brain motivates us to pursue. There's no pain blocking us. Now just pursue pleasure. Go after what you want. And authentic confidence goes hand in hand with accepting yourself for who you really are, lumps and all, knowing you are good enough despite there's no perfect person on this planet. So, hey, might as well accept yourself. That will actually put you in a infinitely better position for self-improvement for the reasons I've explained.
If I looked better, I feel better. I don't think that's the answer. I think that we diagnose our problem incorrectly. Nothing wrong with trying to be healthy. Nothing wrong.
I have people come to me 9 out of 10 looks and they think they're unattractive. It's more a subconscious program than how you actually look.
We're trying to be fit, and nothing.
When it comes to confidence, I'm not saying don't improve your looks. I go to the gym. I try to eat healthy. All those things are important, but be comfortable with who you are.
Nothing wrong with eating well, but assuming that this will somehow provide a solution can be erroneous. Let's take the second thing, rather than body image, feeling weak. Well, that can only be comparative, isn't it? I'm weak compared to, I'm not weak compared to people with atrophied upper bodies or people that are immobilized for whatever reason. When I think I'm weak, I'm comparing myself to a type of man and then thinking, oh, I'm not that type of man.
This is all perception. It's all perception, all belief. You're not weak compared to the cripple. It's all perception, and having this perception of weakness is gonna, if you got that down in your core, your subconscious is gonna identify with that and say, well, I guess I'm weak. And actually how our subconscious beliefs are. I've read, from Atomic Habits, Identity-Based Habits. I've read all the neuroscience on this before in other shows. Whatever your subconscious believes you are deep down, it's like gravity pulling you to that belief. And it's all relative. That's what he's saying. It's just your perception. It's just your belief. Believing you are weak is a weak belief that's going to hold you back.
Man, I didn't reach the kind of, when I was at school and thinking, oh, these are the hard lads, or when you start going out and lads that have fights and kick people's heads in and that, you think, oh no, I'm not one of them. I could get my head kicked in at any minute.
Don't focus if let's say you bench press 90 pounds and that's it. Don't focus on how weak you are and how much it sucks to be weak. Focus on how awesome it will be to get stronger, and that you can get stronger and you're meant to get stronger. Get that belief in you. That's a belief that's going to actually lead you getting stronger.
Those kind of ideas, that sort of thread, that seam runs through me still. Now what I think is, just try and be who you are. Just don't live your life constantly imagining your body should look better, or how you might get on in an imaginary fight. It's not going to be much peace there. Try to stay grounded.
Okay, so I'll show this for you guys. This I've played it before. I'll play it again. I'll show you the Arnold Schwarzenegger being interviewed by the skinny guy to show you exactly what I mean. Let me bring it up real quick. Well, I guess we're still sharing this. Okay. Watch this. Watch this. This will show you what I'm talking about. Oops, hold on. All right. Let me stop sharing this and go to this guy. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Don't focus on your imperfections. Focus on the improvement and accept your imperfections as good enough right now. You just want to be better. You do this, you got authentic confidence. Arnold is trying to give it to this guy. This is great. Listen to how this guy talks about himself and how Arnold is where he is because of his belief system. The other guy is where he is because of his belief system. That's it. Bottom line. Here you go.
Yes, you too can have a body like mine if you're not careful.
This guy has zero confidence.
Pathetic, isn't it?
Pathetic isn't. You might be confident as a host. You might believe that, oh, I can talk well, present myself well. Massive insecurity here.
But here to show us what the human body can look like is rather a remarkable man. We've just been watching him in action, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold is probably the most successful bodybuilder of all time. He's won the Mr. Universe competition 5 times and the Mr. Olympia competition, which is the American version, a staggering 6 times. Arnold, let me start by asking you this.
I guarantee you this skinny guy is comparing himself to Arnold. Well, he does. He says he does. You can just hear. So this guy on the right's already put himself down twice. Just watch this. This is like another minute and a half. This is great.
Could anybody build muscles like this? I mean, could I, or is it something you're born with?
No, I think anybody could build muscles like that, but it's not to the interest of anybody. I mean, a lot of people go.
That's Arnold's self-belief. Anyone can get big like me if they want to. Not everyone wants
weight
to.
training.
That's fine.
And just want to do it for fitness or for health and for other reasons like that. Only 5% of the people who are training with weights are doing it for the reasons I did it for, which is, to go into competition, to try to win Mr. America, or Mr. Universe, or Mr. Olympia. And it was just a goal that I had when I was 15.
Why did you start to do?
Okay, Arnold's just chasing his dreams. Arnold is pursuing pleasure. Now listen to this guy. Is this guy focused on pursuing pleasure or avoiding pain? Listen to what he thinks Arnold's motivation would be.
I mean, were you bullied when you were little, or have sand kicked in your face?
No.
The guy thinks about pain. Arnold thinks about.
We don't have that much sand now, but I tell you, I just got into it because it really felt great doing weight training. I did it for soccer, and like a lot of soccer players do weight training to strengthen their legs. And I think I fell in love with the weight training, or with the feeling of being strong and being big and all that. And I wanted to win Mr. Universe, and it was a dream that I had when I was 15 years old. And it's a dream that a lot of kids have, and that's what the film Pumping Iron is about a dream that kids have, and they make it come true in a film. You can see that, and that's what I did.
Well,
okay, here's this guy's self-belief. Does this guy believe he can do it or not?
Although it's a dream that would never come true in my case, supposing I
never come true for me. Arnold's like, anyone can do it if they want, and this guy's like, I could never do it. I'm pathetic. I'm a loser. I could never do it. If I did it, it would be to stop getting bullied. Arnold's like, I'm chasing my dream. Anyone can do it. Listen to the next part. This part is great. This kind of shocked me when I saw this, what Arnold does here. But this shows you the importance of mindset. I'm going to tie this into authentic confidence.
Put a bit of muscle on. We've got a set of weights here in the studio.
Yeah.
Perhaps you could show us some basic exercises that would just start you off on the right track.
Yes. First of all, I have to compliment you for your physical development, because you really look very athletic and good. So don't put yourself down.
You're just saying
Okay.
that.
The guy on the right says, you're just saying that. So what happens if the guy on the right adopted the belief system Arnold? Like Arnold told him, hey, adopt this belief system. You look athletic and good. Don't put yourself down. What if he really believed that? Well, number one, people would like him more. That's just how I'm going to go into specific reasons. I'm going to show you the underlying psychology of why we like authentically confident people just shortly. But if this guy felt good about himself now, the internal pain, the internal self-doubt would be removed. And what happens is when you have internal pain, your brain wants you to avoid anything that pain is tied to. It's tied to our limbic system, our fight or flight. This neuroscience. If you feel bad about your weight, your brain, well, that's a little different. That's like, I'm going to eat to cover my pain. This is people with eating addictions. But if you feel, I'm not strong enough, I'm not good enough, anytime you think about anything associated with your physique, your brain's not going to want to do it. For example, going to the gym. Well, and he said, I can never get big. And his subconscious is saying, what if I go to the gym, I can get big, but there's that part of him in him, this painful belief. What if I go to the gym and work out and I don't get any stronger, and I tried my hardest and I'm still a loser? This pain is going to make him avoid going to the gym. Arnold's not concerned with any of that. Now, Arnold wasn't always this big and strong, but he always had this belief system in him, and that's what made him big and strong. This guy's belief system, tied to pain, tied to I'm not good enough, makes him insecure, keeps him small. This guy on the right has no authentic confidence at all. This guy on the right is being his real self, but he's not confident. He's authentic. He seems authentic to me. I don't think he's putting on a front at all. He's authentic, but he's not confident. He doesn't accept his imperfections, and he doesn't focus on the fact that, hey, I can get better and that will be awesome. He's too stuck to the pain that him believing where he is too weak and sucks. And that keeps him small. That keeps him tied to it. There's a book, John Bradshaw, Healing the Shame That Binds Us. Shame binds us down. Pain makes us want to avoid anything tight. It actually keeps us from self-improving. Pursuing pleasure gets us to self-improve. All right, so I beat that horse to death. That's just a real life example. Not being comfortable in your own skin is going to keep you from progressing. So back to Russell Brand here. We probably got a couple more minutes of this and we're done with Russell Brand. And then I'm going to show you this other short clip, really cool clip, really drives the point home. And then I'm going to show you psychologically what is going on. Why do we like confidently authentic people? Oh, here we go.
Now, but I do address these things. I do eat well. I do jiu-jitsu. I do exercise. Like what I'm saying is perhaps there's a message, perhaps there's something that you could be listening to and responding to, but don't use it to create a state of paralysis and self-condemnation. And that's
self-condemnation and paralysis goes hand in hand. And that's exactly what the skinny guy was doing. Do you guys see that? And that's going to keep him small.
Lack of confidence is. It's nice to deal with confident people. It puts you at your ease when you deal with people that are
confident. People put you at ease. We'll get to that specifically.
Genuinely, truthfully confident.
Genuinely, truthfully, authentically confident. We're gonna pick this apart.
They're not overbearing. Like some of the most confident people I know, they're very easy to be around. And they're people that have done work on themselves in one way or another. If you want to feel confident, stop judging yourself, but do go to work on yourself. Hello.
So what he's talking about, judgment of yourself leads you to feel bad. Stay away from the pain, forgive yourself, accept yourself, love yourself, and then focus on pursuing the pleasure of kicking ass in life and up-leveling. That's what he's talking about. And if you accept and love yourself for who you really are, you can be yourself imperfectly. You can be just the real you, lumps and all, in front of others, knowing that you're good enough just as you are. And that is authentic confidence, and it just really endears people to you, and it helps people trust you. So I'm going to show you another clip. We're going to dive into the mechanics of this, what's really going on, subconsciously what's going on, why we like that. I got one more clip for you guys, and then we're going to, it's not going to take a long time, to show you these fundamentals, what's going on. But we'll do this first. And this is great because this is actually quite dense with information. I'm going to have to pause it a couple times and just like really hammer some there's like 2-3 sentences in here that are solid gold. And this is Tom something. I'm not sure who he is, but probably a famous guy or an athlete or something. I don't know.
First step you can take to help you build more confidence. Stop trying to look flawless.
That's a nugget right there. Stop trying to look flawless.
I think it's because I know what frightens me. Do you know what I mean? And actually, I'm a big softie, and that's why I'm covered in tattoos and everything. Is because I'm actually quite scared of everything.
Now, what's funny is he was actually answering a specific question about that, so he wasn't like voluntarily vomiting his weakness onto people, but he's just truthfully answering a question. They were asking him about his tattoos and why he had so many. He told the truth. And he doesn't give a shit. He's like, hey, it's cool. And everyone's like, oh, that's so sweet.
Most people would hesitate to label themselves as soft or scared. But ironically, for a guy who says he got his tattoos to try to put on a fake front, Tom isn't fronting. He freely admits his fear. This is the weird paradox that you can learn from Tom. His fear hasn't gone away, but he's learned to be confident while still experiencing some fear.
Well, he's confident despite his imperfections as an imperfect human being, which every single person on this planet is. Now, when you hear him say that, just go back and kind of look inward, guys. Are you like, oh, this guy's such a pussy because he says that? Oh, what a freaking loser. You're like, oh, no, it's kind of funny and cute that he says that. I mean, what is your response when you heard him say that? Now, extrapolate that to yourself. Now, again, don't be something you're not, and don't just like dump your weaknesses and insecurities on others, but you're not hiding it either. They asked him a specific question about his tattoos, and he's like, this is how it is. I'm, kind of scared of shit. It makes me look tougher.
Notice how he prioritizes being honest over.
There you go. Honest. That's authenticity. You accept your flaws and you know you're good enough even with your flaws. It's just a quirk that makes you unique, kind of makes you lovable, you know, and you don't have to be perfect. It's okay to have flaws. And when you believe that and authentically convey that to others, that is authentic confidence. Again, I'm not saying you barf your weaknesses all over the place. You're not like laying them on others. You're just being yourself. You show your strengths. You don't shy away from your strengths. You know, Russell Brand in his clip, he says some of my comic personas are really quite good. He's cool about his strengths. You know, he's like, hey, I kick ass here. Well, in this other area, you know, I still got some work to do. Hey, it's all good. You know, that's authenticity. You're just comfortable in your own skin, the good, the bad. You're comfortable with who you really are, and you don't need to be something that you're not in order to be good enough. Right there.
Trying to appear flawless. You don't need to hide parts of yourself to be acceptable for other people. One thing to note, this isn't about unloading on people or forcing yourself to bring this stuff up. In each instance, Tom is simply being honest when answering a question that he's been asked. There's an easier first step you can take to help you.
That's it. It just starts looping. So anyone knows who the hell he is, put it in the chat. Eagle Cloud, welcome to the show. We're talking about authentic confidence. And so I'm going to tell you what's going on, because I think you guys pretty much all know, you meet someone who's authentically confident, they're just more likable. They're like way more likable. It's like the best natural charisma you can have. Why do we like that? So many people go around putting up a fake persona they think the world will accept because they don't feel good about their imperfections, their flaws. Maybe those flaws, you have, again, I've had clients come to be like 9 out of 10 look like they belong on the cover of GQ and they feel unattractive. So much of our flaws are just the way we perceive them. And hey, maybe you are overweight. Maybe you need to lose weight. But accepting yourself despite that is really, if you want to lose weight, you accept it's okay to be overweight. And then the pain that ties you to that, you don't need to self-medicate by eating to deal with that pain. That pain's not there. And then you just pursue the pleasure of, wouldn't it be great to be skinnier? So, and then you're comfortable with being overweight and you're like, hey, I'm still awesome. Being overweight doesn't define my entire spectrum of worth as a human. And that's true. You can be overweight and then you could be a multimillionaire genius stock trader or invent the cure for the common cold. You know what I mean? So it's not the only thing that defines your value. So if you are knowing you have value despite your flaws and you embody that, you got that deep down in your core and you're comfortable with it, you're just going to naturally radiate that. And then you have authentic confidence. Why do we like that? What is going on there? You could see, like, look at Chris Farley, Saturday Night Live actor. Now, he had a lot of toxic shame. He had a lot of things wrong with him, but he made fun of how fat he was. He's like, he would tell people, hey, just call me fatty, but he said it in a really funny way and just everyone laughed and everyone loved him, and people, you can have toxic shame about some things and feel quite good about others. So he, in some ways, he was a very genuine, lovable guy, even though he's like freaking huge. He was overweight. Okay. But everyone loved him because he was just, Beverly Hills Ninja, P-dubs, because he really just owned the fact that, do you guys remember, go on YouTube, watch this, the Patrick Swayze clip, Chippendales dancer, right after the movie Roadhouse came out, Patrick Swayze, this heartthrob dancer that all the chicks loved. And then Chris Farley came out, and Chris Farley's like at least 100 pounds overweight. And they're doing side-by-side Chippendales dancing. And the way that Chris Farley frickin' owns his weight issue, RIP. I love Chris Farley. It's so tragic because he did have a lot of toxic shame and issues in him. But he just went out and he used his morbid obesity as just like a tool to just make people laugh. And everyone loved him for it. You accept your imperfections, and let me show you right now what's going on. Why do people dig this? I got this little, look at my fancy graphics here. Why do we like authentically confident people? Well, number one, because they're authentic, we know they're not hiding anything. They're being the real thing. And we can sense that. And that makes us trust them more. Who are you going to trust more? Someone who's showing the real them, even their flaws, and they're cool with it? Or someone you could tell is fake? What's this guy hiding, this fake guy? We can tell when people are authentic. We trust them more because they're keeping it real, even when keeping it real involves exposing some less imperfect parts about themselves. So we trust them more. That's reason number one. Reason number one, we like these people more. Number two, they're conveying a message to us when they are okay being imperfect. The message is it's okay for us to be imperfect too. How good does that feel? When someone is authentically, you can see their flaws, you can see their imperfections, but you can tell that they just accept their flaws. That guy with tattoos, I'm just a big softie. I want to look tough, but I have tattoos, so I'll look tougher than I really am. I'm just scared of everything. And he's kind of joking about it, but there, there's an element of truth there. And it's like, oh man, you know what? Because every single one of us is like, oh shit, I got flaws too, man. I wish I did this better. I wish I did that better. I wish I did that better. And then we see someone who conveys the message of, wow, this guy is imperfect and he believes that's okay. Maybe it's okay if I have flaws too. He's cool having flaws. Maybe it's okay if I'm cool with having flaws too. And then when that message is conveyed to us, oh man, I don't have to put up a front with this guy. He accepts his flaws. He's going to accept my flaws. That paves a way. All right, now we can let our guard down, be the real us. That's so much better, right? And if you have one fake person talking to another person being fake, you can't have real connection because you're conveying, this guy's conveying fake stuff, this guy's or woman or whatever conveying, there's no real connection. You're going to have a fake connection, but deep down, it's fake. The reason we know it's fake, the reason we know authenticity and all of that is our subconscious mind processes 1,000 times more data per second than our conscious mind. It notices all sorts of things our conscious mind doesn't notice. Our subconscious mind notices the other person's heartbeat. It notices their micro expressions. It notices how dilated their pupils are. All this stuff we don't consciously notice, our subconscious notice, and then it gives us a vibe. It gives us a vibe about this person, whether they're being authentic or not. I'm not saying our subconscious mind is perfect, gets everything right, but it has so much processing power, it tends to get stuff right regarding authenticity way more often than not. It's actually incredibly difficult to, you can do stuff to fool people, distract them, this, that, and the other, get their emotions involved, etc. But it's actually really difficult. I'm not saying it's possible. It's really difficult to mimic authenticity because of all these micro expressions, other stuff our brain picks up on. And if someone's trying to pull a fast one on us, if we really take a moment and reflect like impartially and just kind of get in touch with our authenticity, our intuition, we'll probably catch when other people are being fake or pulling a fast one on us. But what they do is they throw up stuff that puts other emotions in play that are stronger, that kind of gets us to focus on the stronger emotional reaction and ignore the deep down intuition. It's like, there's something off about this guy, this girl, whatever. So if you're authentic, people are going to trust you more. If you don't hide your imperfections and you're just cool with it, they trust you more because you're being the real you. They're like, oh, cool, I can be the real me too, even though I'm imperfect. That makes them feel better. And then you can have real authentic connections with each other. And let me tell you, the one thing for me that feels like magic, other than like clearing my toxic shame, which was freaking awesome, that was like magical. The only other thing besides that, upgrading my internal world, that feels like magic is, man, some human connections out there are just so good. They feel magical, like real true blue intimacy, authenticity, just really enjoying each other for who you really are, just like not a care in the world, not trying to be anything you're not. You're just like having fun with another person, or talking about stuff that matters, and there's like no judgment from either of you and just acceptance. It is magical, man. It's cool. So anyways, that's our show for today. If you can learn to be comfortable here, newsflash, everyone's imperfect. You look at these guys, they go to the gym, they're buff, this, that, and the other. Great. They got that going on. And then you look at the rest of their life, because I have these guys come to me, and you see they're not perfect. They have big insecurities in other parts of their lives, and they actually try to hide them. They try to hide them by looking really good, and I'm not saying everyone buff is like that. But there is that tendency, I'm going to focus on making my outside absolutely immaculate. And they do that because deep down, they're actually quite insecure, and they need external validation from others to feel good enough. And so they're just hyper-focused on looks to get that external validation that is missing inside of them. But then you see like a Chris Farley or a Russell Brand, and they embrace their imperfections. You guys got to watch it. I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube. Patrick Swayze and Chris Farley, Chippendales. Oh my God. It's one of the greatest comedic skits of all time. And that's a guy embracing his imperfection, Chris Farley. And just when you look at Chris Farley doing that, are you like, what a loser? Are you like, this guy is utterly and completely lovable and awesome and hilarious? Same thing with Russell Brand. That's what makes him so great, is he's authentic, and he actually, other people who are being fake or too reserved, he calls them on their bullshit and makes them be authentic too, and it puts them off guard. It's hilarious. He does it all the time. Just watch his stuff. He does it all the time. So anyways, that's my show. Learn to accept your imperfections. Learn to realize you don't need to be perfect to be amazing. You don't need to be perfect to be good enough. You're good enough just as you are. Remove all that pain and then say, hey, wouldn't it be great to get in shape? Wouldn't it be great to get in better shape? I'm already good enough. Wouldn't it be great to get big muscles? And if you're like, I like kind of big muscles, but I don't need to be huge. Okay, get kind of big muscles and then focus on your real passion. Wouldn't it be great to, invent some scientific invention that you're really passionate about, or race motorbike and you're a competitive motorbiker, or you want to be a multimillionaire? Great. Freaking go for it. Chase that dream. Chase that pleasure, and accept the fact that, hey, you're imperfect. Doesn't mean you're not good enough. You are good enough as you are. When you embrace that, you are going to have authentic confidence, and people like you more, and every part of your life improves for these reasons. I believe I spelled it out. P-Dubs, thank you, sir. P-Dubs says, great stuff as always. I aim to... instead of aiming to please, maybe a tiny bit, but really more aiming to inform and, uplift the human race, because it's freaking awesome doing that. And it feels great. So that's my dream I'm chasing. That's our show. At the end of the day, every single one of us can learn to embrace the real us. None of us is perfect. We might as well accept ourselves for who we are, and then just chase our dreams, because we're not worried about not being good enough. We're just going to chase our dreams. So when you get in that frame of mind, not only surface level, but deep down in your core, you really believe what I just said, you're going to find something out that I learned long ago, about 10 and a half years ago, when I found self-hypnosis, when I changed my core, when I got feeling really good about who I was, despite my flaws. I learned the real me was the best part of me. Up to that point, I thought I wasn't good enough, and it was super painful. Then learned to accept myself, lumps and all, that, hey, I'm imperfect, but still good enough, still have value. When you get that, you're going to find out, oh, holy crap, I had more power than I knew. That's our show. Thank you.